guest. He's one of the country's most celebrated broadcasters, comedians and storytellers.
Now, Stephen Fry is turning his attention to exploring the wonders of the animal kingdom in a brand new documentary series for ITVX.
Combining extreme weather, breathtaking landscapes and epic wildlife, here's a look at a year on planet Earth.
Despite being clad head to foot in specialist winter gear, I wouldn't survive a night on this hillside. Thankfully, I won't have to. But this mother and cub must be prepared to face some of the toughest conditions on the planet. It's the last time they'll see the sun this year. Polar winter is here. This one night will last for more than 100 days.
So good.
Stephen joins us now. Holly said you do give good voice.
You do. That's what we want.
You're perfect for it. There was a launch the other day for ITVX, which I went to, and a lot of people still sort of quite unsure about what they're going to get. So it's a brand new free streaming service for ITV. And we've both been interviewing so many people who've got new series coming up. There's some really good stuff on there.
It's
and this
remarkable.
is the first time for as long as I can remember that ITV have dipped their toe into natural history.
Yes, when I was a child, there was a half-hour series called Survival, made by Anglia, which made me very proud. But growing up in the Anglia region, they didn't provide much in the world. And
Sale of the century.
Yes, Sale of the century, the quiz of the week, of course. But that was some time ago, and of course, the Natural History Unit at Bristol and the great David Attenborough have bestridden this space, as you might say, for decades, and brilliantly, and I wouldn't for a second want to think that I was even beginning to put myself in the way of thinking about challenging so great a figure as David Attenborough, who is he got a double first from Cambridge in zoology. He calls himself, I'm just an amateur, but he's not. He really is.
Knows his stuff.
And from a child onwards, he was collecting fossils and so on. And I do have great interest in wildlife. From a child, I was slightly less scientific in my rummagings. I would find bones and skeletons of animals and send them to Blue Peter.
Oh.
Yeah, I got a silver badge by the end.
Did you?
Yes. And I remember once there was a man who was, I think he was called Phillip Dangerfield or something like that, who was their kind of natural history chap. And I sent this extraordinary skeleton of an animal. I had no idea what it was that I'd found somewhere in the Norfolk fields. And I'd said that I'd cleaned it for him because it had been rather dirty and a little smelly. And he looked into the camera and said to Mr. Fry, who sent me this, young Mr. Fry, thank you. In future, probably don't use toothpaste when you clean a skeleton. And I thought it was the nice thing to do.
Minty fresh.
It was a minty fresh badger. It was only a badger.
It was a little badger.
Yes, I thought it was going to be something extraordinarily rare and exotic. But
There was there's so much to learn. So even though you sort of watch many of these programmes, but actually you still stumble across stuff where you go, wow, that's incredible. And the story of the butterflies. Oh. So there's this extraordinary... You went to Mexico, and these are the butterflies that are migrating from Canada to Mexico, but they can't do it in one lifespan.
No, it's astonishing enough to think of one thing weighing, less than a gram, flying thousands of miles through buffeting winds and over motorways and canyons and goodness knows what else, to go to a tiny little area of Mexico, which they've done for as long as we know. But even more extraordinary, that they stop halfway and sort of eat the leaves and give birth to caterpillars. And it's the caterpillars that then hatch into butterflies that finish the journey.
How do they know?
It's extraordinary. Their brains are the size of a pinhead, if less. And yet they have this instinct, this extraordinary instinct.
Wow.
And I mean, it's almost the size of this wood, of this studio, the wood where they go. I mean, bigger than that, but not much. I mean, you can walk around the whole area where they are. And the trees are thick with them. And occasionally a branch will fall down, exactly as it does when it snows in the Alps, and a bough is made too heavy by individual snowflakes that weigh almost nothing. Enough of them, they'll weigh enough to pull the branch down, and that's true of these extraordinary monarch butterflies.
Is this something like as a child who sent in a minty fresh badger to Mr. Dangerfield? Is this a dream come true for you?
Oh, yes. I mean, I can't tell you the pleasure I get from travelling to places I've not been before, and especially places that are not tourist holiday destinations, but that one has through the privilege of being able to go with a film crew and be in touch with local experts, you know, as in Iceland, say, to go to, you know, stand on a glacier, the largest glacier in Europe, surrounded by nothing but white. Complete stillness. Two ravens came, which was rather wonderful, because in Norse myth, didn't Odin have a raven on each shoulder? So it felt very Norse. And I said into camera, and this is the thing that our documentary series is about, really, hence A Year on Planet Earth, that even though we're in this stillness with this glacier, you have to remember we're going around the sun 250,000 miles an hour.
On the tilt.
At a tilt. And that tilt gives us the seasons. Without it, we would be uniform. But as it is, everything, the water cycles, the rhythms of the planet on which we all depend. As you know, almost every day there's a new article about how we're not getting enough sleep and about circadian rhythms and how we ought to, you know, try and sort of return to some more natural rhythm in our lives. And animals, you see them, their hibernation and their waking up is keyed to a whole series, a cascade of amazing natural events.
Maybe this series will change the subject of people that stop you in the street who, I think, almost invariably will say, you send me to bed or send me to sleep at night
Yes,
reading the Harry Potter books.
Yes. A man once shouted to me across the street, "My children go to bed with you." Please find another way to express that very charming thought.
Is it true that you had trouble with a word?
It is true, yes. It was in the second book, The Chamber of Secrets, I think, that there was a phrase, a three-word phrase. I mean, it just couldn't be simpler, really, but it's just one of those ones that I trip on, and it's Harry pocketed it. I still can't say it. Harry pocketed it. I guess I kept putting in extra syllables. Harry pocketed it. Now, Jo Rowling had said from the first one, when I did it, that she was very pleased it was being done, but that she had asked the publishers, and in those days she did ask them because she was just a new children's writer, not this phenom that she became, that it might be unabridged, because she had this idea that children would like to listen to the recording, the audiobook, while following it with, you know, and it would help with their reading and that it would give them an extra pleasure. And so she didn't want any changes. So she wasn't in this day, and I called her up and said, I can't say Harry pocketed it. Would it be all right if I said Harry put it in his pocket, which I can say? And she said, no. No. And not only that, but in the following books, right up to the last and seventh one, she made sure the phrase Harry pocketed it was in a little bomb left for me. Everyone.
Funny.
And I'd be cursing.
That's
Harry
a good
pocketed
story.
it. I can say Harry, I can say pocketed, and I can say it. But Harry pocketed it.
That's fantastic. Oh, it's lovely to see you. Thank you.
For the full series of A Year on Planet Earth is exclusively on ITVX on December the 22nd. And have a lovely Christmas.
Thank you. Lovely to see you both. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.